Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, getting you caught up on the latest rumors around the association. A lot of new Donovan Mitchell trade reports out there. We're going to talk a ton about D-Mitch today. Plus, stay tuned until the end of the show because the Jazz want this player from the Knicks to get Mitchell. We'll explain and give reactions to that as well. Here's the latest on Mitchell. Knicks continue to be interested, but other teams have emerged as potential suitors for the Jazz superstar guard. Here comes John Gambadoro out of Arizona, who covers the NBA. He tweeted this out. A couple things on Donovan Mitchell. The Hawks, Heat, Kings are not interested, contrary to reports. Knicks still have the best package to offer, but other teams are interested, including Cleveland, Washington, Charlotte, the Lakers, and Brooklyn. And no, the Jazz never asked for 7 first-round picks. Now, let me just say right off the bat, the Lakers and Nets make very little sense here. We'll expand on why they make very little sense, but just think logically. What? Are you going to trade Anthony Davis for Donovan Mitchell? I guess you could try. I don't think the Jazz want Kyrie Irving, so those are two teams that, sure, they can be interested. But as Marshall Green at Chat Sports said, he's also interested in dating Kim Kardashian. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, so keep that in mind as well. Will Donovan Mitchell get traded before opening night? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's show, so if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down and answer this question. Let's go team by team here. Brooklyn Nets out of the new suitors here that, of course, we'll talk more about the Knicks. Listen, with Kevin Durant back in the fold for Brooklyn, with that resolution coming together yesterday, sure, like there's still going to be issues there, but I don't think KD and Kyrie are going to go anywhere at this point, and you can't get Mitchell any other way if you are Brooklyn. You're not going to trade Durant, obviously, for Donovan Mitchell. I don't think the Jazz even want Kyrie Irving. Even if they did, I don't know if Kevin Durant would sign off on that at this point in time. I just don't think the Nets make any sense whatsoever. Like, sure, in theory, if you could get Mitchell to pair up with KD and Kyrie, that would be a whole lot of fun, but there's just not enough assets, not even close, from Brooklyn's side of things. So I just completely am eliminating Brooklyn from this possibility. Charlotte Hornets. Look, it'd be interesting. You get LaMelo Ball and Donovan Mitchell in the same backcourt. That'd be a lot of fun. I continue to think that they would not have the assets that a New York Knicks team would have, where the Knicks have some young talent and a bunch of first-round picks. But you just kind of visualize D-Mitch and LaMelo running the break. That would obviously be really, really fun. And I think Charlotte needs to get a co-star for LaMelo Ball at some point in time. Otherwise, he's probably going to leave and go to a bigger market at some point in the future. But in theory, yes, that'd be a fun duo, but I just don't think the assets are there for Michael Jordan and the Hornets. Be sure to give us a follow on Rumble. Today's show and all of our NBA content gets published on NBA Now by Chat Sports on our Rumble channel. Exclusive and uncensored content coming at you all the time here on Rumble, rumble.com/NBA Now. Plus, once you follow us over there, you can find other content creators on Rumble. Another video platform that we are publishing our stuff to. You can find news, politics, cooking, gaming. There's tons of different categories of video content for you guys on Rumble. Go check it out after you follow us, rumble.com/NBA Now. All right, another team in on Donovan Mitchell. The Cleveland Cavaliers. They're actually a pretty interesting one to me because they do have some young players that I think could be intriguing to the Jazz in a trade. Colin Sexton, who's a restricted free agent, so technically he's not signed, but you could definitely feature him in a sign and trade going back to Utah to get a nice young guard. Karis LeVert is a young guard that is under contract as well. You just drafted Ochai Agbaji, a first-round pick that can play the 2 or the 3. Kevin Love is like a salary match guy, could be involved in a trade here as well. Jared Allen signed a big deal a couple of years ago, but he's a really emerging young center who's playing at a high level over the past couple of years. The Cavs could make a good offer. They could make a pretty decent offer for Donovan Mitchell if they wanted to really get involved in the sweepstakes here. I think they could be a wild card here. Keep an eye on Cleveland for D-Mitch. The LA Lakers, kind of in the category as Brooklyn. listen, I mean, sure, if you want to trade Anthony Davis straight up for Donovan Mitchell, if you're Utah, maybe that's a little enticing, but he's, late 20s now. He's got an injury history. If you're Danny Ainge and you're trading Donovan Mitchell, you got to make the decision, okay, do we want to get a win-now piece back, or do we want to rebuild this whole thing from the bottom up? I think the latter makes more sense since you already traded Rudy Gobert. If anything, after you trade Gobert, you either want to bring in someone to pair with Mitchell or you trade Mitchell away as well. And if you trade Mitchell, I don't think bringing in AD to try and build around him makes any sense at all. Now, that's the only way it works from a package standpoint. The Lakers do not have anywhere close to the assets other teams do. They don't have a lot of draft capital. Their young talent isn't that intriguing with Talen Horton-Tucker and Kendrick Nunn and Austin Reeves. That's not enough to pry Donovan Mitchell to Los Angeles. But if you kind of ask yourself, say, hey, like AD's got the injury history, if the Jazz would take it, would you rather pair up D-Mitch with LeBron than Anthony Davis? I don't know. I think AD's ceiling makes the Lakers' ceiling higher, but obviously there is risks with his injury. Who do you guys think is the better player right now in the NBA? Type AD for Anthony Davis, type DM for Donovan Mitchell. I think AD has more value when he's healthy. Problem is he's not healthy enough. Probably have to type DM for Donovan Mitchell. Last one here, Washington Wizards, as these 5 teams have been linked to Mitchell in the last 24 hours. Intriguing here. I think the Wizards are desperate to put a winning product back on the court. Obviously, Bradley Beal has stayed loyal to them. They went out and got Kristaps Porzingis from the Mavericks at the deadline last year. A trio of those two with Mitchell would be fun, but can you acquire Donovan Mitchell without trading one of those two guys? I don't know if there's enough. I mean, Kyle Kuzma, Deni Avdija, and some first-round picks for Mitchell, is that going to get it done? I don't think that's more enticing than what the Knicks can offer, so I'd be very interested to see what a trade offer would look like from Washington. All right, who is D-Mitch going to play for this upcoming season? Type UTA for the Jazz, type O for other. Let us know in the comment section below who you guys think Mitchell will play for this upcoming season, and after this ad break, I'll tell you who I think he'll play for this year. My verdict is I still think the Knicks are going to find a way to get this done. They have the most to offer. They're desperate for a superstar. They have been for years. And I think Mitchell wants to be there. Now, he's not going to go public and demand a trade. That's just not what he's going to do. I think he wants to protect his image a little bit. He doesn't want to be a guy that goes public with the trade request, because I do think he's enjoyed his time in Utah, and he's been, for the most part, pretty loyal to them. But I do think deep down he wants to be in New York, play at MSG for the New York Knicks. So I think the Knicks will find a way to get it done. Now, whether that happens before opening night, at the trade deadline, or next offseason, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think when it's all said and done, Donovan Mitchell will be a New York Knick. Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. NFL, NBA, college football coverage coming your way on a daily basis. Going to ramp up our NFL and college football coverage moving forward as football season is here. But we'll still have plenty of NBA content for you guys. So subscribe, turn on those notifications. That way you never miss a video here on Chat Sports. All right, final little nugget here, and then we will sign off. The Utah Jazz apparently want RJ Barrett from the Knicks in a potential Donovan Mitchell trade. This comes from Ian Begley of SNY. I got a couple of quotes here from Begley. He says, big name to watch here is RJ Barrett because Utah certainly seeks Barrett in a deal. There are a number of different permutations that I think are being discussed. Certainly Utah would like to get RJ Barrett back in a deal. Are the Knicks willing to give up RJ Barrett? I reported back in mid-July that people in touch with the Knicks recently came away with the impression, again, mid-July, that the Knicks were dead set against including Barrett in a trade. Is that still the case? I'm not sure. I don't think that it's a uniform opinion through the building that New York, for New York, that they can't include Barrett in a deal, so something to keep an eye on there. I can't imagine the Knicks would part ways with RJ Barrett. This kid just turned 22 years old. He averaged 20 points a game last year. The year before, he averaged almost 18 and was very, very efficient. If he can kind of combine the last 2 years, continue to get the volume up, but also get that efficiency back up to where it was 2 seasons ago, you've got a potential superstar in the making. I think the Knicks want to pair Donovan Mitchell with RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson. I think that's the goal for Leon Rose and that front office. So I don't think they're there right now. Could they get to that point at like a midseason trade if they get desperate enough? Maybe, but I don't think they would pull the trigger on an RJ to Utah for Donovan Mitchell trade. Would you trade RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell? You're running the Knicks. Let me know. Type 1 for yes. Type Type 2 for no. I would not at this point in time. My opinion could change down the road, but I think for now, I would not go that route if I was the Knicks. All right, appreciate everybody for making it to the end of the video. We'll continue to bring you the latest NBA news and rumors as they drop. If you're a loyal subscriber, type squad down in the comments. All the OGs make it to the end of the video, so type squad down below, and we'll see you next time.